Hey internet friends, and welcome to my Billie Eilish When the Party Is Over makeup tutorial. Hope you guys like it. I am doing something a little bit different in this video where I am going to show you guys how I prep my skin for makeup and then how I safely remove it without irritation and all that kind of stuff, because of course during the Halloween season I am doing a lot of makeup, I am putting a lot of it on, I am taking a lot of it off, and skincare is very important. So let's just jump right into the tutorial and learn about all the things. Okay, so I'm starting off with the Make My Day Moisturizing Mask and the UFO Mini by FOREO, which is a skincare device which I'm obsessed with, and we're going to jump in with that. Prepping the skin is so important. You guys will definitely notice that the makeup will just apply better, and it's always a good idea. So definitely skincare before your makeup. Ooh, fresh face. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a light concealer. This one is Tarte's Shape Tape, but any concealer you guys have will do, and the lightest one, you can never really go too light. I'm applying that in all of my highlight areas, which include the center of my forehead, underneath my eyes. I'm going to do the center of my nose and my chin, and then I'm also going to apply it underneath where the contour will go, and just by highlighting there, we will end up with an already predetermined contour, you guys will see. But I'm taking a small brush and I am buffing in that concealer. This one is one of my favorite, actually concealer, and it's my favorite foundation brush to use on models because it's just so small and I can really work in the foundation into the skin in small areas. I believe this brush is by Dermablend. I want to say it's by Dermablend. It's going to continue to buff that concealer and into the skin, and you guys can see now it's starting to pale out the face, and it's giving us a very extreme highlight, which is good. So I'm going to take this taupey brown, something that's not too warm, and I'm going to apply that to these contour areas. So now you guys can see that the contour is starting to soften and it's starting to be more structured, and then we'll start to bend the highlights and the shadows around the face to create more dimension. So now you guys can see I'm going in with the same contour color, and I'm going in with the temples, and then going to shade that around the perimeter of the forehead, and that's just going to add extra movement and shape. But my hair is going to be in front of my face, so you don't have to worry about the forehead very much unless you don't have bangs at the moment. I'm taking a similar shade, just a couple shades darker, and I'm going to deepen up that contour just a bit by applying it a little bit lower than where we applied all of those shadows before. And then you guys can see I'm also bringing it all the way in for that hollowed feel. I'm now going in with a cream white. You guys can go in with a concealer too if you have a concealer lighter than the one you just previously used, or use any white paint, but I'm just going to use it on the highest point of my cheekbones to highlight that even further, so we get a kind of two tones in the highlight. I like to do two tones in the shadows and two tones in the highlight at minimum, just to create as much movement and shape as possible. And I'm also using this brush. I think this sponge is by Morphe sponge, I believe. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it does a job. So now I'm taking that same contour color and I'm enhancing that contour even further, but then also using that to blend in. And then I'm taking a highlighting powder. It's a white eyeshadow. It's a lighter eyeshadow from that same palette I was using, and I'm just using that to set that concealer, but then that will also help to fuse the highlight into the shadow to get that as blended as possible. If you guys like, I can even show you, you guys can stop at a certain point in this tutorial and it's like the perfect like Lestat, Queen of the Damned Vampire, or like, you know, a nice Wednesday Addams. I think this makeup could be applicable for a lot of things, even if you're not just doing Billie Eilish. Right now I'm taking a little bit of face paint and I'm just applying that very lightly around my neck. I'm not trying to paint my neck black, I'm just trying to distress it a bit. I'm also going to apply this around this in the same areas that we contoured. So I'm applying that around the forehead and then bringing it down into the cheekbones, and that's going to add a nice gray tone and really sell that like dead look. I'm really trying to go for like Goose the Ghoul. But with that same brown that we originally used to contour with first, I'm going to start applying that in the crease, but you guys can see it's so patchy. I didn't like that brush, so I wanted to switch to a better one. So I'm using this one from Makeup Forever, and you can see that it's blending a lot softer. So I'm starting in the outer corner and dragging that shadow all the way into the inner brow bone, and then all the way to the outer corner to meet the tail of my eyebrow, and then focusing on diffusing that shadow upwards towards my eyebrow. Once you have that nice and softly blended, I'm just tapping a little bit onto the outer corner of my mobile lid and then pulling that in, and then sweeping that same shadow on the lower lash line and connecting it on that outer corner to meet right up into that eyebrow. And it'll start to hug the eye, and then you'll look like super Wednesday Addams. Like this is, you know, this could be a Wednesday Addams tutorial if you just skip the black tears. But you guys can see that I'm going a lot lower with that shadow, bringing it down really softly down the cheek, and that's going to really sell that like, I'm sick, I'm dead, I haven't eaten in 5 years. And then with a darker brown eyeshadow, we're just going to enhance right at that brow bone and then sweep it down the sides of the nose, like almost like accentuating it like an eye bag. I think that really sells the dead look, you know, serving that undead realness. And then I'm also going to shade around the nose on the nostril and then up and down the bridge of the nose a bit, but then I softened it with my finger here because I thought it was a little too structured. There we go. So now I'm taking a black eyeshadow, and you guys can see I'm just tapping it. I'm like pouncing it, and I'm not swiping at all, only pushing. And that's going to softly start to diffuse that black eyeshadow. I am fearful of black eyeshadow, as everyone should be. You have to respect it. Respect the black eyeshadow. So you want to work with it very slowly. So you guys can see I'm just tapping and very, very lightly buffing that black eyeshadow right into the lowest areas of where we place that darkest brown to enhance it. But I'm using a very, very light hand to like whisper at the black. Wave hello, you know? So now I found every silver necklace that I and my roommate have, and I put them all on. And then I have these black mini scaleras. I'm so bummed because I used to have full-size black scaleras, but I found them, I opened them and they ripped, and the look totally suffered. I wish I had those, but this was the closest I could find. I'm taking a light champagne shimmer shadow now from that same Morphe palette, and I'm applying that to like my eye bags and my under eye right there. I really love that shine. This is where it gets like very Lestat from Queen of the Damned Vampire. Those vampires in that movie had like a lot of shimmer eyeshadow in their inner corner of their eye, and I just like love it. I do it all the time. But now I'm taking a black water activated face paint, and I'm just really making sure that it's really wet. I make sure it's not too thick, add a lot of water when mixing it. And then you're just going to create tear marks by just wiggling the brush downward. But then while it's still wet, you can use your finger to start to pounce, tap, and move that product around, and you're going to start to get different shades of black. Some of it will be a little bit more gray, some of it will be a little bit more dark, and we're just going to keep enhancing that so we have a lot of movement in that black, you guys can see. So right now I'm just moving the product around with my brush, diffusing out any of that solid black, and then now going in more black so we have a little bit of two tones kind of working together to create like a lot of exorcist texture. You know what I mean? I'm trying to explain this like using words that like someone who doesn't know makeup would understand. I don't know if I'm doing a good job. You let me know in the comments. But okay, so then taking that same black and doing the same thing, just a mixture of your finger and your brush to kind of work the product around. Since it's still wet, you guys can go in with just a brush with just water on it to kind of move some of these products around, but really play with it and pretend like they're water-based paints, you know, like when you're a kid. But I'm going to work that same black around my mouth. I'm following the reference image of Billie Eilish from this music video. So I'm like pretty much like direct. I'm kind of placing it exactly where she had it. And then I added a little bit more areas like this one here. Just to create like a little bit more water texture there, blending it out a little bit more than the under eyes. And then going in with just a little bit more just to add a little bit of darker black. But I wanted the under eye tears to be the darkest, and anything around it to be a little bit lighter, so the eyes pull focus more than anything else. With the black eyeliner now, I'm applying that only where the tears start, so I'm only doing it to the outer and inner corner of the eye, so it looks like the tears are like coming out of my eye, but while using an eye-safe makeup product. And then now I'm also going to put some black coming out of the ears. Billie Eilish didn't have this, but since I took it, you know, like I pretty much took that music video and then like took it like 3 steps further. So I wanted to create some black coming out of the ears too. I felt like it was very exorcisty, very demonic, you know? I feel like this makeup tutorial can like be applicable to so many different things instead of like literally just being Billie Eilish. Anyway, going in with this dark purple lip gloss, I'm going to enhance those tears further, but using a lip gloss will make sure that these tears will always remain and hold their shine, so they'll look like freshly cried tears the entire time. I chose to go with the dark purple because I really liked the color and how it mixed with the black, and like that like little bit of color it gives. It's like, you know, barely noticeable, but it's like a little bit of like a blood purple red. I liked it. Anyway, you guys can use a black lip gloss if you have one. But also applying it to the lips too, and that's going to really hide some shine. And look, now that's the finished tutorial. It's pretty easy and pretty straightforward, but you can look really spooky. The contacts really sell it, you know? You really need to get the contacts going, because you have a full black eye. It's perfect. But that's the finished tutorial, my friends. I hope you guys learned some fun techniques or some fun looks. Even if you guys aren't going to be Billie Eilish, I think that this look can be applicable to a few different kinds of costumes and looks, so I hope you like it. But a common question that I get is how I remove my makeup, and it is kind of like a little bit of a stepped process, so I thought I would actually include it in this video, how I go from this ghastly ghoul right back into me. I always start off with a makeup wipe. This helps me, and anything that's super dark or anything in this particular makeup would be the lip gloss and anything sticky, and that helps me remove the nitty gritty. And then I take this Youth to the People face wash, and I take the FOREO Luna 3, which is a skincare device that vibrates, and it very nicely and very gently just removes all of my makeup. I would say arguably that this is the most important step to really deeply cleanse your skin deep down where the eye can't even see, and to get your skin actually cleansed instead of the makeup removed. And then I just wipe it off, and it really is that easy. You guys, I get a lot of comments from you guys thinking that it's like some crazy process, but here it is. But that's a finished video, my friends. I really hope that you guys liked it and learned some new stuff, and I will see you guys in the next one.